I started this job about 9:50 p.m. and we have some dragging with the brakes. It's not getting better, so I loosened up the lug nuts before we jacked it up. See, I have it jacked up back there on the hitch. That has both rear wheels in the air. So we could even go on the other side and see if that side sounds good. What I think is we need new pads. But when I went to the store to buy pads, there's 4 different options depending on the date of the manufacturing date. This is a 2012 Town & Country. Whether or not it has heavy duty brakes or not. And basically a visual will be the best thing that we can do. So yeah, I cracked these free before I lifted it. I'm not going under it, so you should reinforce this. Oh good, it's nice and free. Not seized to the rim at all. That's a good sign. So yeah, I'm guessing the wear indicator is hitting and the pads are getting low. And we have inspection coming up this next month, so Pennsylvania State says that you need to have everything in good working order or they won't give you a sticker to drive. So there we go. Get that sucker off there. I am using a 19mm socket. That's what fits on those the best. And then we'll lift this off of here. Tires still look really good. Those should pass inspection. Lean that over here and get a good look at our brakes. The brakes are worn down a good bit. And we don't have much on the inside. Yeah, there really isn't that much pad left on the inside. So I bet that's why we are dragging. And our piston is pushed out pretty good. I don't have any tools to take care of that right now. I need the piston tool to turn it in, and I don't have that. So here you can look. You see, I would say this has been dragging for quite a while. Look here, there's the backing pad. Just go by my finger here. There is the pad on the outside. There is no pad left on the inside, and there's the backer. So this is probably stuck out and not dropping back in where it needs to go. There's really no pad left there, which we're gonna pull this off and look at it in a minute. So now we need, what is this? This or this? Probably just take off this melting bolt. You could do this one too, but this guy has to pivot. We might just get a whole new caliper and throw it on here. So we'll have to undo this one and this one, or the easiest one would be this one, because then I can get this popped off of here. There's one there too. I don't know, we can do these outside ones and pop this sucker off. See what we're dealing with. Sometimes these rub also. But we're definitely rubbing there. It's supposed to keep dirt and grime and crap out of there. But then if something does get stuck in there, it drags on your disc. All right, let's get this off. All right, well, I got this one loose and this one loose. You see this little spacer here? Not sure why. That shouldn't be turning. All right, bolts loose. These are 14mm. Drop those 2 down there. And our caliper, the inner part here, should come free. Can lift that sucker right out of there. Stuff is really dirty. I'd really like to see this clean. question is, when I get this off, am I going to be able to get it back on? Maybe I should have taken the whole thing off. Yeah. This guy needs to be turned back in. And once I get this off, I'm in trouble. So grimy. I don't know what that says, but it's not worth it anymore. All right, there we go. There's our piston. That could be the culprit here. Don't want to let that drop. We have the parking brake attached to that. I wonder if the parking brake has been dragging. All right, so here is the culprit. Here is why we're having the scraping sounds. You see, our pad is uneven. Scraping metal here on the one side. This is where the pad is supposed to be. And we don't have much left. There's our screamer. That's supposed to be telling us when that's the wear indicator right there. It's supposed to tell us when the brake pads are low, and since this is not running evenly, it's not telling us that at all. Here is the outer pad. It's actually looking just fine. We have to replace both of them when we do it, but you know, that's what it is. Yeah, all right, now we can see our rotor. Our rotor is probably still okay, but we are grinding metal to metal. So that's not what we want to do. Just scraping into our rotor there. Not good. Not ideal. And these are so filthy. They just are. They are so filthy. So I'm going to get some good pictures of this so I know what I need. Obviously, this is the problem. And probably our good old rotor here is the reason. Or our good old piston is the reason. Because that's probably failed. And nowadays, a lot of times you buy loaded calipers and just pop them on. I haven't done the job with a parking brake like this on a Chrysler, but this is the problem. Cool. There's our issue. All right, I put her back together, tighten these guys back up. These do slide, these are free, so that's nice to know. I don't have the tool to turn the piston back in, so I had to just put it back together as is. I broke off the wear indicator squealer. Not that that's what's grinding or doing what we need to do, but being that this is uneven, then I think we probably need a caliper. So I'm putting it back together because I need to get this somewhere else, and hopefully maybe I'll just buy a caliper. We'll see what I need. But I'm going to put the wheel back on so it can be driven, and I'll probably be the one driving it and using the brakes as little as possible. So that's it for tonight. I'll see you guys later. I'll catch you up on the rest of the story through this video and see if we can make this happen. We're back with new caliper and new pads. There's a set for both sides of the rear here, left and right. Brand new caliper, so we really don't have to do a whole lot to this one. This is going to go back as a core return. It was $60 core charge. So this time it comes with a bracket. So really all we have to do is remove the brake line itself. We're going to wait to do that till the new one's installed. So all I got to do is pop it off this one, put on the new one, and remove the caliper bracket bolts here. And I believe that is what, an 18 millimeter? I know, it's all metric. So anyway, going to crack this free before I remove it so it's easy to, I'm just going to loosen it so it's ready to crack free. Let's see, we're going the right way. I don't want to remove it right now, but while it's still connected, I'll loosen it up. There we go, starting to leak fluid. Just going to tighten it down so we're not leaking fluid everywhere. And then this is ready to come off. I did actually have it loose, too loose anyway. So all this is free. Rotors. If we're replacing the rotor, now would be the time to do it. I'm going to use the rotor. It's not that scratched. I think we'll be okay. So both the 18mm bolts for the bracket are loose. We're just going to remove this. We got to remove the parking brake here. What we're going to do there, I think I got to look into how we're going to do that. We have to disconnect it from here because that's where it pulls tight. But we want to take it out of this bracket first. So I got to figure out how to do that. And then we can remove this, pull it free. We got to assemble the new one and put it on. All we have to do here is push these two tabs in. And that will release it from this metal bracket. And it's going to go that way. Because I'm not using this again, I decided just to pop this little spring off, loosen this up so I can remove that, because everything came in loaded, ready to go there. We just have to stick that brake line on that little sucker there. Here you can see, you just pull this past the frame and there's a little notch here that you can slide the actual brake line out right there. And now we just pop it off. Set aside. All right, so our e-brake is disattached, is removed. Like I said, I just took that spring off because this is just junk. Because I know myself, I'll probably save this spring somewhere. Just for fun, because you never know when you're going to need a spring. So anyway, there's your bleeder if you need that. Here's where your brake line's attached. We're going to set this aside. I don't want to stress the brake lines, but kind of move this out of the way. Slap the new one on. Here is our new one. You can see the piston's completely in the bore. And that's what our new sucker looks like. Let me show you the new pads. And I've never seen pads that don't have material on the ends. Is that a new design? I don't know. But they look the same as the old ones, except for the fact that we have no brake material on the old one. Look at this, guys. This is what we were working with versus the new pad and the old pad. Look at all that brake material. Like I said, I don't know why it's not the whole way out to the edges. It looks like they cut it out for some reason. I don't know why. Must have been redesigned. Maybe it works better. But there's our new one, and I am going to make sure that these are the correct ones. Look like they are. Cut out here. There was a couple options, and this was the one that we went with because this is the one that made sense. The screamer was over here. I might have the wrong one here. But they're the same. Let's see here. This is the other one. Has a quiet pad on the back. We have to install the springs. Springs came with the caliper, like just metal ones. And then springs also came with the pads. They're like coated with Teflon, so we'll probably use them instead. So here's the other one. Sometimes they're different, sometimes they're the same. They look the same to me. That one, that one. Here's this one. This one actually has a screamer on the opposite side, so that might be the inner pad right there. Okay, well, let's start assembling. all we really need to do with this guy is attach this is going to go on just like this. I took the rotor off just because it was free. We'll put that back on, slide this over once it's loaded. We got to put the springs inside here where they will slide on the pads. And let's get on with it, I guess. We can compare what's on here with what needs to go in here. There's all our springs. This is actually sets for both sides. So I have one for this side and one for the right side, which we're not doing at the moment. Look at that old caliper. There's the new one. Beautiful. Here we are, sticking these springs in. I set them all out. We're gonna need 4, and like I said, the pad set came with one for the left and the right rear. So look at your old one. Your spring is gonna have a little sucker here to keep it in, and that's gonna be on the outside of either one. So when you set it up, make sure like your pad has to rest on this, on the bottom. And I already installed the outer ones here. When you flip it over, upside down, don't get confused. So now we have this tab where the pad rests on, and then it actually fits in your caliper, and you can kind of see here over here, how it rests in there. And then if you have to force it, it's probably wrong. So now we have to find one like this. So this is going to be on the outside of where the pad rests, on the opposite side of where your rotor is going to be. So now this one is going to be like this. So the bottom of the pad rests here, so basically here. And we're going to have to spin this around so that it falls right in there. So that little notch there is where it sits, and that's going to go in there. And eventually you can see how these two things kind of slide right over where it is and into place. And then, like I said, don't force it, but it's gonna fit right up in there just like that. So now we have one on either side, and your pad's gonna sit in there. When you put your pad in, just kind of push that down a little bit with the bottom of the pad. And now let's see, if that one took that one, then this is probably the one we need for this side. So again, this is the bottom, and this is the outside. So yeah, that's just gonna slide into this notch right here. Kind of hug the frame. There you go. So now everybody's almost in their spot. There we go. Now it's locked into place. And time to insert our pads. Like I said, make sure you have an inner and outer. They are different. This one has the screamer on that side. That's how I'm telling where they go. That one's on this side. So this is my inner pad because I broke this one off. It was there. So that's how this was. That's my inner pad. So I'm gonna put that down in here. It is the bottom. Put that down in between, and then push it. I gotta do this with both hands. Yeah, I think I put it in upside down. Did I? Very easily could have. No, that's correct. But this bottom side, I like to stick it in like that. And then it has to, I'll do it off camera, but you got to get it up in there and slide it in. Here it is, guys. Got the new pads loaded. They obviously are down in the bore, pushed back as far as possible. So now we pop the rotor on here and we slide the new one into place. And then we'll go about pulling off the old brake. Well, I'm gonna put the parking brake on before I do that. So, gonna go ahead and put the parking brake on, and then these springs, just make sure it's kind of tough to line them both up on either side. You got to kind of lift the bottom so that they slide in there. And I was wondering why the screamers were, I keep calling them screamers, the little metal things that tell you your brake pads are getting low. They were kind of in the way, but they slide on the Teflon just like the other. Slide on the spring. Spring's just there to keep them in place. So yeah, metal to metal, I guess that's how it is. So we're gonna get ahead, load this in. Here's the old pad on the other side. See, it's not as bad as this inner one, but still not great. So we might need pads on the other side. I don't know if that caliper's in good shape or not, but maybe we'll need new brakes on the back, both sides. So I'll go ahead and put the rotor back on, get this guy out of the way, attach the parking brake to this, slide that into place, and show you how we're doing. Here you go, guys. Got the parking brake on the hook and pulled it past the mounting bracket. And you got to get it past so that this can drop, focus, through the little notch here. And then that slides back in and latches in. So all that's ready to go. I got my bolts here ready to tighten down. All we have to do yet is loosen this guy and put them on here. We have a new bolt here. I should check if that's the same. Should be the same as the old one. This is an 11. Yep, that's an 11. So we have two new crush washers here. So we can pull this out. This actually should not be loaded with fluid. Whoops. One washer on the inside. Put that in, and then one washer on this end. And we'll tighten that down. Tighten down our mounting bolts. And we'll be good to go. So right now, this can go right on here. So that's ready to put right on. And then you got to pump up your brakes a few times. Hopefully we don't get any air in the line that doesn't work its way out. And we won't have to bleed it. But if we do, we do. And then you want to check your reservoir and make sure your brake fluid is in a good level. I didn't bring any with me. So this is going to fill up. And I'll probably have to add some to the reservoir. There she is. Don't over tighten this. Make sure it gets snug and everything is sitting correctly. Make sure that your old crush washers are off. I had to actually pick it out of the off of here because it was sticking to that. But you don't want to double up on crush washers. So we have one on the inside of this block of this line and one on the outside. So wipe it all up and make sure it doesn't have any leaks as you're pumping. And if you pump it up and you get pressure, then you're probably good to go. Make sure get it all cleaned up so you know if there is a leak. But make this snug and then give it a little bit of like an extra turn. Just don't overdo it and you should be good. Make sure you don't forget to torque down your lug nuts and tighten all the bolts that you loosened up in there. And I pumped up the brakes, going to take it for a test drive. Make sure everything functions as it needs to and sounds and seems good. And then, like I said, check your fluid in your master cylinder and your reservoir. All right, y'all. Well, we're back here because we do have a spongy brake pedal from time to time. And that tells me we're not ready. We don't have any leaks, which is good. Tells me this is solid and good. We're going to be going in here. Hopefully, my hose that I brought along will fit on this nipple. Come on, buddy. Now, this is at the top of the caliper. So, the air should be at the top of the caliper. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have my assistant, my lovely assistant, going to come down and help me in a minute. That's your dust cap. Don't lose that. You want to put that back over there. We're going to take this hose, which I think will fit. This is for motorcycles. Got some oil in there already. And what we're gonna do is put this on the bleeder nipple. Try not to spill your brake fluid. Make sure this is cleanish. And then you're gonna slide this over. Oh, I forgot to put grab a wrench. It looks like, I don't know, an 8, a 10 maybe. I'll go see what I need. And we're gonna break that bleeder nipple open, and we're gonna fill the reservoir in the front and make sure we don't go low on fluid. We could actually pump all the old fluid out. That might be a good thing to do at this point because the brake fluid does need changed, but we definitely wanna get this clean and working. Looks like it's a 7/16. This is the first thing that actually is ASE. Now, put that on the box end and get a good grip on it. And now, we'll put this back over. And this is so I don't get brake fluid everywhere. And also, when I open this up, I want a little bit of brake fluid to sit in here so I'm not letting air back in the system. Brake fluid's gonna come up here and it's gonna start. You'll see air bubbles coming up through there. We could probably do it right now. I'm gonna go ahead and put some, we have dot 3 and dot 4. Put some dot 3 in the reservoir right here. Be careful not to spill it everywhere. We are on a tilt, but you see how dirty and gross that is. What we're gonna wanna try to do is get this to start being clean. And if we would chase all this old fluid down through with clean brake fluid, that would be a very good thing to do. Oh, I'm already spilling. But there's a lot of dirty brake fluid in this thing. And if we did the back left, there's still gonna be dirty brake fluid in all the other lines. So we're just gonna fill this up and pump some of this down through. There, it's starting to dilute it a little bit, make it look a little cleaner. And put as much as I can in here because I don't mind pushing a little bit through. We're only going, whoops, okay. Now I'm making a mess. Dripping down. It'll make it to the floor eventually, but right now, that's all we want to do. And we're gonna pump the brake. Pump some of this clean stuff down through. And let some air out. Let's do one by myself. Here we go. Pumped. Oh, there. We're solid. So we're building pressure. Now I would say to her, hold it. And I would crack it. So right now, I'll go back here. I did not break this free, so it might be a little difficult. Let's see. I will crack it. Nothing coming through yet. I need my assistant. So we'll build up pressure again. And then we'll crack it. Nothing's coming through. So that tells me we need to keep doing this. Since I just cracked it, we're definitely gonna need to pump it again now that we let air in the line. It's still pretty solid. Okay. See if we get any through this time. Ready? Now, I need someone to come and hold the brake down so we're getting full pressure when I open it. I guess we don't have any fluid coming down through. And then hold it. You hold it?
Yeah.
I'll crack it. I'll crack it. There, we got some fluid. All right, pump it back up 7 more times.
It's like a workout.
I know. Makes you tired.
Hold it in.
Yep. Okay. There was some air.
Pedal went down.
All right, pump it back up. How do I have clean fluid already? You holding it? A little bit more air. All right, pump it again.
Switch feet.
Less air. All right, pump it again. Probably feels pretty strong, huh?
Okay, I'm holding it in.
Less tiny little bubbles. Try it again. There was definitely air in the line. Didn't see any air that time. Go ahead and do it again. How tired are you?
I'm fine. I'm working my butt.
All right, no air. We should be good.
Okay.
Oh, there was more air. Do it again, please.
Okay.
Okay, none that time.
Okay.
None that time. Let's just leave this till tomorrow and we'll do it again in the morning. Next morning, just to make sure we don't have any more air in the line, we just are gonna pump this up again a couple times, see if we get any air bubbles out. This hose started pulling off because I put the tire and wheel on just in case that would drop. It dropped a tiny bit, not much, but so we're gonna go ahead and open this up, see if any more air comes out, and then we should be done. Put the wheel back on, check the level in the master cylinder, in the reservoir, and then we should be good to go. Take it for a test drive. Once this is level, we can do a check on this. Not sure much of anything came out. We pumped a little bit through, but we topped it off pretty good too. Pumping fun.
Okay.
All right, I'll crack it, holding it. Okay. All right, do it again. Tiny little bubbles.
Okay.
All right. Practically nothing. Do it one more time.
Okay.
Full fluid. Do it one more time. I think we're good.
Okay.
Holding, and looks perfect to me. Thank you.
Yep.
No leaks. Make sure that's tight. Everything looks good. No more air. We're gonna put the dust cover back on. Just pop that over the bleeder. The old one didn't have that, so that got lost in some point. And throw the wheel back on. Throw the wheel on. Drop the jack. And then make sure your lug nuts are tightened to specs, which I don't know. I just make them snug and an extra kick. And then, yeah, when it's dropped, we'll check the level in the reservoir. And then we should be good to go. Take it for a test drive. Okay, so I did spill this last night. I'm not surprised that it's a little wet around there. But now we gotta figure out where the level is. Max is right here. Minimum's down here. So we're gonna be somewhere between those. And can't really see through the plastic. So let's just open this up and see if I can see the fluid inside, which we can, and we're definitely right about max. So that is good to go. Let's go take her for a test drive. It's a little dented, not a big deal. Oh, there we go, push it back in. Those expand into the fluid, expand down, at least on motorcycles. I don't know what it does on here. It's a little weird. Okay, make sure that's not sitting in there when you shut the hood. All right, we're starting out strong. Seems good so far. Yep, check engine light is on for the thermostat. I already knew about that. All right, brakes are holding just fine. Working just fine. Gotta back out of the garage first. It's nice to have a garage attached to your house where it's a little bit warmer. I mean, there's not gonna be a lot to show you on this trip other than the fact that we're starting and stopping. Feels great. Before, I got about this far and then it started failing on me and going to the floor. We're not having that trouble now. It seems to be acting normale. Give it a good trip around the block. Yep, it's holding fine. We're not scraping. That was a worry when we replaced it, that it was making a scraping, screeching sound. Here we go. Yep. So far, so good. The first couple times we drive it, we'll just make sure that the driver is aware of what we did. And if they find it sinking to the floor, that they're prepared for that. It is working perfectly fine. Oh, these guys like Mopar. That's pretty sweet. Okay. These guys have a four-wheeler in the driveway. These guys have something, 2 cars covered in the driveway. Looks like a Corvette to me under the one cover. All right. Well, I know I don't have my seatbelt on. She's holding, she's not sinking, she's being very, very good. I'm happy with that. Like I said, all we gotta do is make sure that it stays that way. Everything seems fine. We will be checking the other side to see if the pads are good on the opposite side. We do have a new fresh set of pads to put on, and hopefully all is well over there, but you always change both of them at the same time because then they are equal and wearing at hopefully the same intervals, and hopefully the caliper on the other side is fine and not giving any issues with hanging up or not retreating into its bore. Okay, well, 139, 426 is when we did this. Recently had an oil change. Next thing we need to do is the thermostat. We do have parts for that. I just haven't gotten to it yet. So let's get it all knocked out at once. Guys, this is Sean from Normal Guy Getting By. And it looks like we're going to be getting by with this brake repair. I'll see you guys on the next one. One last thing. Let's make sure that our parking brake works. Okay, we're moving like we should. Push. Now we're not. Now we are. All right, perfect. Everything is good to go. See you on the next one.